Recent months have definitely been a difficult time for Polish infrastructure investments. Now news has emerged of a possible multi-year delay in Poland's nuclear program. All this after a statement by the industry minister, Marzena Czarnecka, who announced the completion of the first nuclear power plant only in 2039. After a wave of criticism, the minister rushed to clarify. There is no communication chaos about the schedule of the Polish nuclear power plant. 2028, pouring of the first nuclear concrete. 2035, electricity from the first unit. 2039, more units and completion. Definitely, transportation is not the strong point of Donald Tusk's ministers. Chaos also reigns over another key investment. The new president of the Central Transportation Port is for and even against the creation of the investment. The fact is that the concrete actions of the current government prove, at the very least, the suspension of the work on the Central Transportation Port. This should certainly not be a vanity project, the largest and most impressive airport in this part of Europe. The project, as we see it, is supposed to respond to a specific need to provide transportation capacity in Poland. It is not meant to be an end in itself with its dignitary and political connotations. If anyone is trying to politicize the Central Transportation Port, it is the current ruling team. Polls show that support for the project is cross-party. Meanwhile, one gets the impression that Donald Tusk's government and its appointees are looking for pretexts not to finish the investment. First of all, we can't open a new airport too early when Okęcie and Modlin will still have unused capacity, which will be increased by new investment. It makes no sense to build infrastructure when the existing infrastructure has not been fully utilised and has not had time to depreciate. This communication reflects the state of the project management. Even in the interview mentioned here, Mr. New Chairman of the Central Transportation Port contradicts himself or says things that contradict what the plenipotentiary says. For example, we hear we need to expand Chopin Airport because we won't have time to build the new Central Transportation Port, followed by a sentence further on that what we need to specifically delay is the construction of the Central Transportation Port so that this expansion can take place and pay for itself.
Argumenty przeciwników stają się coraz bardziej absurdalne.
Roman Giertych of the Civic Coalition claims that the Russians are responsible for building a movement of support for the Central Transportation Port, including an airport to enable the rapid transport of American troops to Poland. A slightly more rancorous record has been turned on by Ryszard Petru, who claims that Poland cannot afford a central transportation port and the simultaneous development of regional airports. There is always limited money. You know, it's easy to say, do something for 200 billion zloty, but the money is not there, and there won't be, presses on the lips. We have already heard that such a narrative once in the context of the 500 Plus programme. What happened next? We all remember. In the case of the Central Transportation Port, the cost of the entire programme, so not only the airport but also the railways until 2030, on the side of the state budget, is 70-something billion zloty, so statistically about 10 billion zloty a year, and the state budget is currently more than 800 billion, so that's a little over 1% of spending. At the end of the day, when someone says that we can't afford the Central Transportation Port, it's like saying, we can't afford to make money. This is absurd. Since the Central Transportation Port is gigantomania, maybe Poles should lower their expectations, especially since one Central Transportation Port has already been built, the Central Pedestrian Bridge in Warsaw. More than 450 metres long, if necessary, it can serve as a runway, for light aircraft, for example. Maciej Strug, TV Republika.